And if you guys learn anything, I'm trying to make a video here. Hey everybody, this is Jeremiah at Reed Racing. We are back for another video. In today's video we're going to continue where we left off in the motor assembly. If you haven't seen the other videos, I'll put them in the corner right here, put a link to them anyway. And then today we're going to set the valve lash and all on all the cylinders and start bolting the what they call bolt-on, so motor mounts, water pump, all that kind of stuff. And then at the end of the video, pretty much all we'll have left is to put the flex plate, clutch and stuff on, and then drop the motor in the car. And if you guys learn anything, I'm trying to make a video here. And as always, if you guys enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. If you learn anything, want to follow along, we have some racing videos coming out later this week. I got a little bit of racing in this weekend. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and with that we'll get started. So we got all the push rods in, we got the roller rockers on, roller tip rockers I should say. Roller rockers are illegal. And then we got all the poly locks on, and the reason these two have a longer one is for that shield that goes on here. But we're going to set all the valves. So basically we're going to start here and we're just going to go down the row. I do it that way because then I know I didn't forget any. There is a way where you can basically turn the crank to one spot, set four basically enough for 4 cylinders, turn to 180 degrees, set the other 4, but I always forget, and this way I know I didn't forget any. So what we're watching for is this one to go up or this one to start going down. So that one's going up, so stop, and we can set the exhaust or intake 14, which we'll have to reset this after we get the motor warm. Levi's enjoying his YouTube over there. Okay, and now we're gonna watch for the exhaust open, or intake close, sorry. So that one's gonna go down. We're gonna watch this one come all the way up, and then when it starts to go back down, then we're gonna set the exhaust, okay? Exhaust are setting at 16. Now when you guys are checking the lash, you wanna make sure you take your wrench off of the nut, because you can put pressure down on this and it'll seem like it's tighter than it actually is. Now we're gonna go to the next one. This is your intake, so we're watching for the exhaust to open on this, which is now. So we got all of the valve lash set. Now we're gonna put the intake gaskets on. I haven't had very good luck using the rubber pieces that come in the kit on the ends because they tend to move when you're putting them on. So I put a little bit of gasket sealer like Nolan's doing on the backside to hold these in place where they need to go while we're putting the intake on. And then I use silicone across the ends here and here to and then just put the intake on. Right there. And when you guys are putting your intake bolts in, I recommend not tightening any of them down until you get them all at least started. Otherwise you'll never get some of them in. motor mounts on, you want to use a lock nut. Should have a little split there. Basically that'll help keep them from working loose. It's good to check them every once in a while, but I've had them come loose before. So we got gasket, bracket, gasket. We're gonna make sure that that rod stays on the end of this piece. Okay, so we got that on. Next thing we're gonna do is put the water pump on here. So this big gasket here is for the thermostat housing up here. I didn't take that apart, so we're just going to leave it that together. Save that gasket for later. We got these two water pump gaskets. They're both the same gasket, but basically they're just going to go like so. We're basically just going to take the water pump and we're going to stick these on here on the bolts. That little piece of gasket out of there so it doesn't cause it not to seal. One thing I have done in the past, especially once it's in the car, is I put a stud in the end of the water pump and get these lined up on the stud, and then put bolts in and then take the stud out. And there is a right and a wrong way to put on your fan, so make sure you got the fan going the right direction, otherwise you're not actually pulling air through your radiator. Basically the engine's going to spin this way, so you want to make sure that your blades are actually pulling, because they got a curve to them. You want to make sure it's actually pulling air towards the motor, otherwise you're just going to be pushing air back away. You're still going to get some air to the motor when you're moving, but when you're not, it's just going to get hot. And you'll have two belts. The first belt just goes around your crank and your water pump, and then your next belt will go around your power steering pump as well, and possibly your alternator if you run an alternator. I do not, but the reason for that is so that if one belt breaks, you're still turning your water pump so you don't overheat. Usually the belt that, I don't want to say usually, but if your power steering belt breaks, your water pump will still be cool in the motor, but you'll be able to drive without power steering. Pretty much the only thing we have now are valve covers and the distributor and the oil filter. Before we forget, I'm going to put the oil filter on. I use the Wix 51061R. There's also an 069R. One's taller, one's shorter. I never remember which one. I just know which one I get. But the reason we run these is they have a bypass, so if the filter gets plugged, it'll bypass the oil, so you're not oil starving your engine. You'll be circulating material, but you're not oil starving it. So I gotta put some oil on this. So we got oil around the seal. Usually I'll fill this full of oil too before I put it on, but being that I'm gonna prime the engine anyway before I start it, this will fill up with oil anyways, so it'll just take a little bit longer. So we have our Felpro valve cover gaskets here. I'm just going to drop those into place. passenger side, just a regular valve cover, and then the driver's side has breathers on it. The reason for that is your right side gets all the oil sloshed into it when you go in the corner. So you need, if you had these on the right side, you just slosh oil out. So keep them on the left side, keep the oil out of them. One other thing we forgot to put in there. So we're gonna put our cover on here. I'm just gonna put it on the nuts finger tight because we're gonna end up taking it back off. And prime. So there you go. Once we get this primed, put the distributor in, we'll be able to drop it in the car, and then put all the rest of the bolt-on stuff on, carburetor, attach the power steering pump, stuff like that, and then it'll be ready to go. So the next video we'll have after this one will probably be us dropping it in the car. We'll see who shows up for that one. So there you guys have it. I touched on it a little bit in the last part of the video, but we got everything done except for and that part I didn't mention, putting the flex plate and the clutch and stuff on before we put the motor in. So in the next video we're going to do that, drop the motor in, and then we also have some videos. I went to a practice it had been almost 2 weeks ago on a Sunday, and then we went racing last Friday, and we were going to race last Saturday, but that didn't happen. So I'll touch on that in one of my future videos. But with that, if you guys haven't already and you want to, hit that subscribe button down below. Really help me out. And then make sure to check out our Facebook, Instagram, and all our partner links down in the description below, as well as all the parts and tools and stuff that I used. And with that, we'll see you next time.